All right, this next section is going to talk about the meninges, which is one of the structures that protects the brain. The skull protects the brain. We'll talk about cerebral spinal fluid after we go through the meninges, so we'll see that. There's a blood-brain barrier. We saw that when we looked at neuroglia, specifically astrocytes that prevent material from leaving the capillaries in the brain. That's a form of protection as well. But we're going to be concerned here in the next few slides with the meninges. And the meninges are 3 layers of membrane that protects the brain and spinal cord, that wraps around the brain and spinal cord. So here we see some brain tissue. There's the cortex, right, and the white matter that's deep to it. And then if you look, well, it's got a lining on it. Then it has another lining over top of it with all these little web-like things, and then a thick double-layered lining on top of those other 2 linings. So those are your 3 layers of the meninges. So we're going to have to go through each of the 3 layers in the upcoming slides. So first off, let's name the 3 layers. This is from the outside in. What you see in gray and kind of a peach color, kind of a 2-in-1, really thick outer layer is called the dura mater. Then we go to this web-like looking layer right here, which is the arachnoid mater. And then in contact with the brain tissue itself is the pia mater. So we're going to go through each of these layers in the upcoming slides, but for now, be able to name these 3 layers from the outside in or from the inside out. It goes dura, arachnoid, pia from the outside in. All right, so there's your skin. We go deep. There's your skull. That's probably your parietal bones right there. But immediately inside the skull, we see these kind of 2 layers, real thick membranes, 2-in-1 in gray and peach. Both together is the dura mater. It's the 2 parts you can see are the periosteal layer and the meningeal layer, which you don't need to know. Just the entire thing you do need to know is the dura mater. Dura means tough. So you get this real thick, tough, strong outer layer of the meninges. It's the strongest meninx. By the way, that's singular for meninges. Meninges is plural. Meninx is singular. There's the dura mater. Well, look, it's in contact with bone. It has to be tough. So your outer layer of the meninges, the dura mater, is the strongest of the 3 layers. Now we move further interior, deeper, and we see this layer that's sort of thin, but what's special about it has all these little web-looking things that point in towards the brain. So this layer right here is called the arachnoid mater. Oid means resembling, arachno means spider. So this is mater or tissue that's resembles spider. Well, it actually resembles spider webs, right? And that's why we call it the arachnoid mater. And the reason for these little webs right here is to create some space between the arachnoid mater and the pia mater, which is the inner layer. So this layer, this space that's deep to the arachnoid mater is called the subarachnoid space, right? Which means under the arachnoid layer. Subarachnoid space, the space right in here is where cerebral spinal fluid, which we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, flows in the subarachnoid space. So that's what these little web things do, is they create that space, that subarachnoid space, for the cerebral spinal fluid to flow through. And finally, the innermost layer, which is in contact with the brain tissue and spinal cord tissue, if we were to go further inferior, is called the pia mater. So the pia mater, pia means delicate. So you have this delicate, thin layer of the meninges that's in contact with your brain tissue and spinal cord tissue. So that's the pia mater, your inner delicate layer of Meninges.